to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
Yeah, that was like yesterday when I went. Did you see my Thomas? I
haven't seen it.
I went to walk yesterday for after work, get my walk in.
Oh yeah.
And it was like light rain for the next hour. I'm like, fuck, you know what? Fine, I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever. I took an umbrella, but it was slightly windy yesterday. But I'm like, I'll take the umbrella if it goes to shit, whatever the fucking. But, like, it was on my way out, maybe 10 minutes in, I got Mahaney-ish, and it came down, started coming down harder than drizzle. And I went, fuck. I cracked the umbrella, but it was windy, so I left it kind of compressed and kind of around me, like, bleh, not fully open, because I was like, oh shit, it's going to pull this thing. I don't want to be
Mary Poppins all over.
I don't want cars whizzing past me and like, look at this fucking idiot fighting an umbrella. Oh, it broke.
Watch it fold backwards.
Oh, he's an old man. Fuck. So I left it like all compressed over my head. I'm like,
is that better?
Yeah, no. But I couldn't see the cars, so then it was out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I get to the store. I'm on my way back, and I'm at the intersection, and it just it starts dumping.
Unloading on you?
Yeah. And then it's windy, so I'm like, I can't open the umbrella, but I'm like, I'll make it to the bus stop. I'll make it to the bus stop and take a break. And at that point, I get like a text from Piper. She's like, she had just come home from school. She's like, where are you at? I'm like, get my walk in, but it's raining. So I'm in the bus stop, and it starts fucking like, it is downpour.
Yeah.
Like epic downpour and wind. And then at some point in there, like a minute, 30 seconds or so, there was hail.
Oh, wow.
And the whole time, there are kids practicing soccer on the all-purpose field, and they're fine.
Yeah.
But it's coming down. They're
Yeah.
like, and I'm in here in the fucking bus stop like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is an old ass man. These kids are
with his umbrella.
Yeah, with this umbrella that I'm not going to use because I don't want to break it. So then I got to buy a new goddamn umbrella. I'm like, God, fuck it. So then I'm like, well, I'll kill time, and I made a fucking Thomas in the bus stop, and I'm like, it took a break, and I went, fuck it. Well, I mean, I'm not going to be here all day. I got shit to do. So I just started walking, and it went back to like drizzle. I got to 100, 200 feet within Megaquatics and epic downpour, and I went, fucking, here we go. Like, this is it. Like, cars are starting to come by, and like the spray is starting to get up. Like, I'm like, but now I'm in the, no, man. I'm like chill as a cucumber. Like, hey, I'm pretending like it's just zero fucks. Man.
It's a normal day.
It's a normal day. Man, it is a fine 75 degrees.
It's nice out here.
It's nice outside. But this shit is coming at me, and I got everything. It is dark and wet on the front side and dry and light. Well, I had like a gray hoodie, and it looked like black and white.
Yeah.
Like it was coming at me. And the whole time I'm just like, I'm not moving any faster, and I'm not opening this umbrella because
why bother taking the umbrella, dude?
The moment I cracked that fucking umbrella, I shouldn't have. Why?
Why bother?
Why? At some point,
You're just carrying it. Does that make you look even better?
It's a cane.
The fact that you're in the rain, holding an umbrella, getting drenched,
right?
Holding the umbrella.
I am providing a story for people on their drive. Like, one, look at this idiot.
Look at him. He's got an umbrella. Just use it, dude.
Yeah. My wipers are on high, and this motherfucker's on the sidewalk, not even using it.
Why Why has he got it?
What is he doing?
Does he not know what it's for?
Yeah, what is it, a cane?
Okay.
What an idiot.
My wife made me bring it.
Yeah, he's dry on the back, but wet on the front. We could flip him like a coin. And anyway, God.
Heads or tails.
What, idiot or smart? Who the fuck knows? And that I just accepted it. It was like, I'm an idiot.
I wish I could find someone who was witness to this. That we
Right.
didn't know. That'd be like, so did you see this guy
Oh,
on the side of the road in the downpour the other day?
like I saw. Yeah,
He had an umbrella but didn't have it up. What do you think about that?
Yeah, idiot. Probably.
I don't
would
know.
be-
I just thought there was something wrong with it.
What a fucking moron. I did end up using the umbrella to like clean out drains on my way back.
That's hilarious.
I was like, hey, well, this is a lot of rain and these leaves are clogged. So I unclogged drains.
That's
with,
funny.
with the umbrella.
I have a question, actually.
Yeah.
On your walks, do you ever encounter people with bags just picking up garbage?
I have not seen that one yet. No.
There are 3 or 4 people around my neighborhood that I see fairly often, just on their walks picking up garbage all the time.
Really?
Yeah. There's an Asian couple that, like, she holds the bag and he's got a little tongue thing, and they have conversation, and he's just picking up trash. And then there's a lady who always has a trash bag with her.
Yeah.
Then there was another lady that was picking up garbage. There's like 3 different ladies that have trash bags that are just. And I came across one. I think it was Monday, and she happened to be coming towards me when I was walking the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what is she doing? Right?
Yeah.
And then I see her like kicking debris out of a drain,
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's got a bag full and she's picking up garbage.
Yeah.
And as she comes by me, because she's like in the bike lane and I'm on the sidewalk with the dog,
Mm-hmm.
and I go, oh, thank you so much for doing that. You're awesome. She's, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. And then when I am out and I see garbage, because there's always fucking garbage out there,
Right.
just constantly. I'm always like, man, I wish I had a bag, because I would just pick up the trash
Yeah.
and put it in a bag,
Yeah.
I just think that's awesome that people do that.
Hey.
But I feel like also it's out of necessity, because otherwise it would just get trashed. People don't care.
Oh, yeah.
You
no,
know?
they don't. Welcome to Sad Dad's Club Podcast, episode 234. I'm the Lord Fu.
I'm Jim.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
funny you would mention that.
Yeah.
Because Friday, when my dad was here, he was on his way out, and he was, I said something, we were talking politics.
Derogatory?
No.
Oh.
No, not this time. We were talking politics or something, and I used the phrase "the lack of a moral compass."
Yeah.
And like his eyes lit up, and he went, "Why do you want to mention that?" Like, he was at Tractor Supply, and I don't know what he bought. He didn't say what he bought, but he was on his way out, and he passed a cart,
Mm-hmm.
and he got behind it, and he took it back wherever their return was. He's like, so I took it back, but I had to go all the way inside the store, and some guy, he got into like a conversation with some guy who basically said the same thing, like, hey, thanks for returning the cart.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know where to go. And they got into something, and a third person passed by, and like, yeah, you got to return the cart. And my dad was like, oh yeah, these 3 guys from the foothills are talking about something spawned from the first gentleman saying that most people have lost their moral compass, and then me saying it triggered by, and I went, Dad, I end my show, we say return the cart. And he's like, well, goddamn right, you should.
That's right.
So it's funny that I have in my Amazon like wish list the poker and a grabber,
Mm-hmm.
and like the telescoping, like it like holds a bag, like you can put your own bag in it.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
kind of just like a lasso or a hoop
Yeah.
that you could put. Yeah.
Fancy.
But I just haven't. I haven't had the time. I mean, we have
And
one.
we've talked about this, doing this as just a thing,
Right.
just like a.
And I think our
but-
proximity, what your frequency of trash and mine could be our proximity also to the schools.
Well, the schools and the major thoroughfare.
Right. Like
Because-
ours, we've got Pleasant Grove, but ours is like for us, I think it's a school.
Yeah, I mean, what I find a lot of is, one day I came down and around the corner and there was a kid, like across Halsey, and he was holding, those white. They're not cones. They're just like the white markers that have a black base that they like glue to the cement, and it's a white marker with reflective tape at the top.
Yeah.
That are, I don't know, a couple feet high.
Yeah.
He had one of those. Just this kid across the street. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? But at the same time, I see this kid across the street, and I'm looking down, and there is hundreds of pieces of paper strewn about all over the fucking place. And I'm like, and I'm walking the dog, right? So I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like talking out loud, like, what the fuck? And it's like these, just like, it looks like, I don't even know how to describe it. Almost like church papers or something that have been like cut up and then just like tossed out of a car or something. And a bunch of different stuff too. Weird shit. And he goes from across the street, because he sees me with the he sees me eyeing him with the cone.
Right.
And then I'm seeing all this shit all over and it's like on I don't know, a couple 100 feet or yards of shit strewn down the street. And I'm like, and he goes, oh, a car just drove by and threw it out the window.
What the fuck?
And then on top of that, on Pleasant Grove, I find a lot is the stolen package boxes, where the boxes have just been literally chucked out the window of the car as they're driving down the street.
Oh.
So then people are running into it. It's got foam in it. It's got whatever peanuts or whatever it is, and the boxes are trashed and they're in the lanes and they're been kicked up in the grass and there's like everywhere. There was one I found a while ago that had like the lady's address was still on it, and she lived over by Toast House.
Yeah.
And I like picked up the box and carried it to her house, and it was like, hey, I think you had a package stolen from your porch, because I just found this box out on Pleasant Grove. And she's like, oh, thank you. Not that I had the contents because they were taken.
Right.
But it's amazing how much garbage is around that. And I've seen now 4 different people on multiple occasions
picking up stuff
just in my area, picking up garbage. And I think that's kind of telling where we're at.
It's kind of, it's unfortunate that it's there, but it's also heartening that other people are
concerned enough
doing something about it. Like when I on my way to and back from Mahaney, like we pass over the creek. There's a culvert, and that creek often overflows, and like there's no access to that ravine right there, but there is plastic bags and shenanigans and shit in there, and I'm like,
it's gross.
Like I can't get I can't get in there, and I want to do something about that, but it's like and people just piss me the fuck off.
Well, and then you start to realize, well, that's the reason why we have a garbage patch out in the middle of the ocean,
right,
spinning around,
right,
because people don't give a shit. They do that, it gets into the creeks, it flows down, and eventually ends up in the Bay Area, and then it just flows out to the ocean. What was this? Shanna said something about how they were measuring now that there's microplastics in the snowpack.
Not surprising.
So that means plastics are going out in the ocean and being evaporated along with water somehow, ending up in the clouds and getting rained down into the mountains or snowed down into the mountains.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Here we are. Like the trash is everywhere. We've fucked the system.
plastic.
Yeah. Plastic.
Yeah. I mean, that's really
polyesters and all the whatever.
Polyethyl styrol. I don't even know what the fuck
I don't know about it.
Anyway. Give you a quick update on the Cadillac.
Hey, what is it?
No update.
All right, fantastic.
So it's been it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow since it's been back into the shop since it was fixed again.
Yeah.
And I found it to be broken just a mere couple hours after I got it back. So it's back in the shop. So the no GNUs is good GNUs. And I'm Gary GNU, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there you go. I had a funny shenanigan here just before the show started.
Yeah.
Very dad moment.
Uh-oh.
Like, got home from my walk. Walked inside, sat down, did some stuff, finished setting up out here. Venus came in and touched base, and mom, dad stuff, and Piper came out of her room. She was finishing something. I'm trying to solve something on the printer.
Someone let the chains off of her?
Yeah,
oh,
right? She's
sorry.
like, chemistry. I go, oh, hold on a second. I saw something on TikTok. Go get your brother, and then meet me in the kitchen. And they're still jawing at each other in the office or in the living room. I can't remember wherever they were at. And fuck it. As I walked past Andrew's room, I opened his door. I'm like, hey, I need you for like 2 minutes. Come out. Oh, okay. All right. So I go out to the kitchen, living room, the dining room, and I'm fully selling this. And I grabbed two coasters and a magazine. I'm like, okay, wait, hold on. So it was about this distance. So I set a magazine down lengthwise, and I set one coaster on one end, and I set a coaster on the other end. I'd been prepping this skit all day.
Okay.
And to sell it, I'm using just random stuff and trying to make sure that it looks like I'm just like ad hocing it. So then
that everything wasn't prepped beforehand.
Exactly. So I take two coasters, set them on a magazine that I randomly pulled from a book. I'm like, okay, wait. And then it was, okay, I need something to, I grabbed a lid from a flask, and I went, okay, so then I take the lid in one hand and I touch the coaster. 1, 2, I do it 10 times, but I'm going back and forward from the two coasters, kind of like just like a plunger thing, like you touch, but it's about a foot apart.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, so 1, 2, you do it 10 times, and I'm gonna time you. It's like some sort of reflex thing, and then I'll tell you what happens at the end. And so Xander, he's still bewildered because I yanked him right out of whatever he was doing. So he's like, why am I fucking here? I'm like, just trust me. I saw this thing. So he's first. I have got a stopwatch, right? I'm selling it.
You have one on your phone.
Yeah, but it was funnier to do with stopwatch. I'm old. I'm not that hipster yet.
Okay.
I'm not quite millennial. So he's like, okay, so you touch it. Right. I'll just go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 1. He gets about 10. He's like, I lost count. I'm like, yeah, stop the watch. I'm like, okay, Piper. She's like, okay, wait. So it's yes.
So is it 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, or is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
1, 2. So 2.
Okay.
1.
So you're
2,
counting
2.
After 2 stops.
Right.
Okay.
So you get all the way back to start.
Yeah.
So Piper goes. She was 2 seconds faster than Xander, but who knows? Maybe she's just faster. And I went, okay. So it took you, took both of you, less than 10 seconds to do that. Wash your fucking dishes.
Zing.
Because that emotion is all it would take to wash your dish. Wash your dishes. 10 seconds. None of you are more busy in this house than me, and it took less than 10 seconds. Wash your dish. And Xander's already walking out, and he's like, fuck.
So was there dishes in the sink?
Yes, there were, but of late, Piper has left her like lunch bento box thing from. Both kids are doing it. I'm an equal opportunity lesson teacher.
Yeah.
And Xander, his cereal bowl, like it's the first fucking thing in the sink in the morning.
Yeah.
and sometimes the only thing. And then last night I made spaghetti, and I'm like, hey, Piper had to study, so she's like, I'm gonna eat in my room, and Venus was in Folsom, and both kids are plating up both their dishes, and I'm like, Xander, you can eat in your room if you want. You can, it's fine, because your sister's gonna eat in her room. He's like, cool, all right, thanks. So they both went to Ray's, and I kind of ate mine at the table, and he finished, walks right past me. He's like, that was good, thanks, Dad, love you. And he sets his bowl in the sink, and then he fucking walks away. And I went,
motherfucker.
Motherfucker. And if you've been listening to the show, like, this is like a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just need, this is the lowest of hanging fruits. Like, participate in the house, wash your fucking dishes, feed the dogs, clean the dog bowls, blah, 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 trash, take a shower, eat.
Yeah.
Wash your dish. Like, it's one bowl. And he, like, blink, blink. And it would have been easy to lay into him, but Piper literally did the same thing, but she just did it with her lunch boxes. So, and she has like this, which is funny because I hadn't seen it in a while, but she has like one of those, it's like a packable utensil set. It's like a shaft, and it's got like a spork, a fork, and a spoon and a knife attachment, and a handy dandy little plastic thing. And for the longest time when she was at elementary school, she'd come home with her bag, and she would leave her box and her silverware utensil thing in the sink. And it wasn't until she like, hey, wash your spoons. You can wash your spoons.
Yeah.
Like so now she's like kind of gotten complacent, I think. Like, so she left her lunchbox in there. Now, she is very busy. She is working really hard at school, but as shown this evening,
she has more than enough time.
Less than 10 seconds, you can perform the motion needed to wash a bento box or wash a spoon.
Yeah.
Like, it's done. It's gone. It's over.
Yeah.
But Xander is also the same thing. He hasn't quite gotten that. He's a little bit behind, like where Piper like picked up on it, and maybe it was like, maybe when she's had to start looking for a job, like the responsibility thing kicked in. But then now she's, but because Piper started leaving stuff in the last couple days, it was an easy like, no, I'm gonna peg both these fucking kids,
right,
and they're gonna get the message.
That's funny.
They're gonna get the message. Like, I could come out here and just be like, hey, so family meeting, I need you guys to fucking wash it. But I'm like, I've done that one too many times now.
Right.
And everyone gets sad panded, and like, Dad's having to fucking take us to tax. I'm like, no. I'm gonna mask this one, and I'm gonna get them to participate and see how stupidly simple.
Right in the kitchen.
Yeah, right in the. I'm gonna
right next to the sink with all the dishes in it.
Yeah, I've got the stopwatch. Piper's like 1, 2, 3, and Venus is in there. She's like, I have no idea where this is going. Like, what are we doing? I'm like, oh, just trust me. Okay, Xander, are you ready? And Venus is like, the whole time she's like,
what are you doing?
Right. And then Piper gets up there, and Venus still has this like, I don't know where he's going with this. And Piper like 1, 2, 3, nails it. I'm like, fuck yeah, all right, wash your fucking dishes. And both like, oh, god damn it.
You have more than enough time.
Yeah, less than 10 seconds.
That's awesome. I like it.
Yeah, it was a good one. Anyway.
Today was Dave, our friend Dave. Had basically like I want to say it's a half yearly State of the Union sort of meeting.
Right.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All stuff that like I always wondered about. I can't talk about it here.
Right.
But all stuff that I always wondered about, like the operation of the company and, you know, how's it going? And, you know,
Right.
like, you just work there. You don't know. You just, as long as you're getting a paycheck, everything's fine, but you're curious.
Right.
And it's something that one of my old, Steve, my old coworker, good friend, we used to talk about that. Yeah, well, I don't know. We have no idea how much money or, you know, how many products or this or that or, you know, that kind of
Right.
fascinating, really interesting stuff.
I have always found I've been with the same company for 20-something years at this point.
Yeah.
And there have been many peaks and valleys to this perspective. And that is that I understand that there are pay grades to some information.
Right.
Like need to know.
Yeah, sure.
Certainly, like you don't need to know. This is your function. This is your lane.
Yeah.
And I don't need to know. But there is value in feeling and getting what some may perceive as a peek behind the curtain because they're getting information outside their lane.
Yeah.
And that helps create like bonds, relationships, and ties.
Ownership.
Right.
Yeah.
To, hey man, we're like locked in arms, and I have like I don't do that, and that's not part of my widget, but I appreciate the share. Like I
Right.
appreciate the share. We just had something like that today where we were talking about like our team about did it blink?
Nope.
I mean,
I did.
I
might have blinked.
Pavlovian like reflex. When you look, I look. Like fuck.
I just looked up.
Like we weren't talking bad about the products, so there's no need to do the
Chill out, bro.
Yeah. Hey, KiPRO, listen. Ulanzi doesn't make a product we can replace you with, so we're good.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, a sister team doesn't have like a daily like collaboration meeting or anything, but ours does. And I'm like, you know, sometimes we're just talking to talk, and sometimes we're talking to try and align viewpoints or perspectives or engagement things like models. And I have always found that more communication is so much more valuable than trying to gatekeep or withhold because you think it makes your job outlook or your job security more valuable. Like, I know this thing, and if someone asks me, certainly I'm not going to keep it to the detriment of the team or the enterprise. But if I know it and I'm the subject matter expert, then that makes me valuable. If it is one thing that I have learned at this point in this length that here at where I work, it's that the people moving those displacement levers have zero fucks about how special you think you are.
Right.
None. If you get dartboarded, it's over. There's no pleading your case. It's game over.
Yeah.
So if you can come at your job or work in a place that has an open share perspective like Dave has done or has instituted in under his leadership, or you work on a team that is at least working from that perspective, man, like it just makes you want to participate.
Right.
Does it make every job bright and shiny and make some of the shit aspects go away? No. Not always. I mean, a shit job may always just be a shit job, but it may take the edges off of some of those things to help get you in a place to wherever your next step may be.
Yeah.
It may open up a relationship that you didn't think would help you, but just talking about a problem or being open about something that you know that someone else doesn't, that you can mentor them or collaborate with them to make your thing even better. State of the Unions.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you if you've mentioned them before Dave took leadership.
No, we didn't know. That's what I was saying. Like prior, we used to say, "Oh, yeah, we don't know. I mean, I guess we're getting a paycheck, so we're doing okay."
Yeah.
You know, and but what I thought was nice and thoughtful about it was that there were, you know, it's like here's all the products, here's the things that make the most money, and it's nice to see those comparisons of products. But the other stuff is he even had like, here's also some comparisons of us, which is we're not a public company, we're a privately held company. But here's some comparisons to how these companies are doing that are in our space, but you know, and we're doing okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of nice to see that. And I mean, he goes into all different kinds of stuff too. Like what HR is doing, what IT's doing, what these folks are doing, you know, how many percentages of things have been reworked and that we're actually pushing out the door, and, you know, all these kinds of things.
The 1 year that I joined you at NAB, was Dave heading the helm at that point?
I don't believe so.
I will.
No, it was.
He wasn't.
It was
quite
still
yet.
John. Yeah.
One of the, and I'm a little AJ fanboy at this point. One of the takeaways that I got from that trip, like I'm unaffiliated.
Yeah.
Like I was a guest.
Yes.
And I took in all kinds of stuff as far as like the trade show was concerned. But I hung out with you.
Right.
So in downtime or when you weren't busy working, I was hanging out with you, which meant I was hanging out with AJA representatives, some of which were like sale or tradespeople at the booth. And they were all of those people that I was immediately hanging out with in proxy with you were all conversational like Dave was.
Right.
Like behind the curtain, like, we worked. I mean, we're in a huge fucking Uber going around.
I think were we in a limo or something?
Was it a limo?
Yeah, I think it was a limo.
And the gentleman that we were sitting with was like some big sales rep, global fucking dude, and he was like I was.
Was it Manny?
I think so.
Yeah. So Manny is he lives in Florida, and he is like yeah. Okay. So he lives in Florida, and he is like a sort of a technical liaison. Like he goes out to installs and helps with stuff, that kind of stuff.
He treated me as part of the conversation, like
cool,
I
dude.
was, like I belonged, and it wasn't. There was no confidential information, but it was the chatter amongst AJA people. It was like everyone was talking business, and it was interesting, but also engaging. Like I wasn't being talked over or like, you know,
ignored.
Right. It was like, oh, I'm chatting with
Who
Jim.
the fuck is this guy?
Right. I asked questions. The guy made me feel like I was included, but everyone made me feel like I was included, like I was just part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Everyone was fucking also drunk.
That's for sure.
So
because that was post party.
They may have thought I was Pablo from accounting. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, very possible.
You know, it could have been the wig. Just kidding. I didn't know. Yeah, who knows? But I could see that that's positive.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy seeing that.
And
my experience was the same.
There's sort of a special thing. I feel like trade shows are kind of special. I'm one of those few people that kind of likes to work trade shows. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're sort of like it's sort of like a camaraderie building thing, right? everyone we get people from all over, employees of ours that are from all over the country that are all converging on Las Vegas
Right.
to put on the show, our biggest, well, not our only, but our biggest show of the year. And everyone's excited, but also everybody knows all these people are NAB veterans, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it is a shitload of work. And you're going to get hammered for the entire day until the show's over. And it's going to happen again tomorrow and the next day after that and the next day after that.
Right.
But also, people are excited because we feel like we make cool products.
Right.
And it's stuff that customers want.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exciting at the same time. And, it's from what I've seen from trade show, like going to trade shows, not even just with AJ, with other companies, it's like, you build relationships at a trade show. Everyone's going through this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so you learn to lean on people and let people lean on you, and you build this rapport, and it's really cool. It's really fun. I mean, I've done trade shows all over the world, and I think it's fun. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And that's no different with AJ and going to NAB for sure.
Yeah.
And that's part of it.
I don't think I haven't I've never been to a trade show from your side. Your side
From an exhibitor standpoint,
right?
Yeah.
I've obviously NAB. I'm trying to think of my outside of that, my experience is probably count on one hand. I did go. I mean, I've been working remotely for so long. Somewhere in the early aughts, I went to a Unix conference in New Orleans with my boss at the time, which was, I think we were Wachovia at that point. And while the exhibiting is different, the being in a conference surrounded by nerds and peers, we're all there was no dick measuring. It was like, oh, like everyone here wants to learn that thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like, oh, like sweet,
Yeah.
like ooh, like show me how to do that, like
Yeah.
And unfortunately, one, the exposure to it has been less and less of late. Two, I started to get kind of jaded by it because it looked more like people wanted to, like when people would start signing up for some of those style of conferences, it was, I'm using it to get out of work.
Right.
And I don't want to be surrounded by people who are just like, sweet, it's like 7-day vacation.
They're sending me to the conference.
Oh, I'm going to the conference and I don't have to do tickets or build X's, Y's, or arrays or deal with the cluster, whatever. It's like, well, I'm going to take, this seminar, and then, it's like, when I go to those things, I'm going to get brain dump.
Yeah, the most out of it.
Right.
You can.
Yeah. I'm not. Now, when I was in New Orleans, did I go out and have fucking hurricanes with the boss and his wife? Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
But that was like, what do we do now? Like, oh, let's go out to eat. Fantastic places. But my primary goal was like, well, I can't get too fucked up because I actually want to learn about this thing, the white hat stuff, the cluster stuff, like what's coming, fucking Red Hat, Ubuntu, like all those things.
Yeah.
And corporate enterprise life seems to have taken some of that specialness out of it, and it's like, well, yeah, I want to go to that cluster class too because well, how many days is it? 4? Oh, yeah. 4
I
days.
Definitely want to go.
I want to go. Like, we don't even use that thing in here.
Yeah.
Like, you just want 4 days of not having to do this,
Right.
and someone's gonna give you a per diem, and you get to stay in a hotel. You don't really like. I can't. No. That's why when I went to a B-Sides thing with Angie, like, oh, Jesus, was that
that's right.
Pre-COVID? The good pen.
Yeah.
Angie asked me, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Because I knew, one, she asked me. Two, both of us fucking love that shit. So it was like, we're sitting there. I'm surrounded by someone who's not just like, I had nothing else to do today. It was like, okay, how do we, yes.
I want this.
This is all great information. Ooh, free donuts. Sweet.
All this info and donuts?
Right. So it was nice but that's few and far between.
Yeah.
I
mean, trade shows are a whole different thing because it's like when you're an exhibitor, you're doing the thing for your company. You're pimping your wares.
Right.
You're
right.
You're demoing. You're talking about all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
You're working on a customer's potential workflow here at the show. What is this thing going to do for you? Kind of a thing. And that's what's kind of fun about it.
Yeah.
But also it is so tiring. It is like the end of the day comes, your feet hurt.
Yeah.
All you want to do is go get a decent meal and go back to the room and chill. But what often happens, or what happened in the past, a lot of the folks at AJA first of all, they're in Grass Valley. It's a very small town. So a lot of the people that work there have known each other for years and years and worked at different places with other people that have come to AJA and worked from those places, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, Abe's the son of the owner, and a bunch of his friends work there. And they're all part of the trade show circuit. They, one of the guys is like, he's in charge of like facility kind of a thing, right? And so he's at the show, and he's behind the scenes, not really doing demo stuff, but he's behind the scenes work. But he's there. He's one of Abe's friends, and that's all. That a lot of this kind of stuff happens. So there's partying that takes place. So the hotel that we stayed at, the Radisson, there's a pool there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And before, I want to say the last show that I went to, which was now 3 or 4 years ago, that pool area in the evening time, Abe and his buddies would have a cooler that they would go and fill with beer and shit, whatever, and bring it down to the pool. And then everyone would hang around the pool and drink and play games and hang out and chat and all this stuff. And then at one point, like they had redone the pool area. And so then the hotel was like, no, we don't want you out here drinking your own stuff. You know what I mean? We want you in our bar.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and that's what they're trying to avoid, is spending hundreds of dollars, or if not $1,000 at the bar.
We're from Grass Valley. We kind of just, this is just how we tailgate.
Yeah.
Like,
so
really?
It's sort of like all that sort of fun stuff. And then everyone's just getting older too. But that sort of stuff sort of changed over time.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that it's like not fun to I enjoy being at the booth and talking to customers and that kind of stuff. It's just fun.
Yeah.
So I kind of miss it a little bit.
I would really like to get into a SEMA show.
Those are hard to get into
because it's not a public thing. It's a vendor.
Yeah.
Right?
You got to have a business license.
If you know someone.
I mean, you just make a business license.
That has access to the SEMA show, that has guest passes. You could send me an email.
Yeah. I would love to do that.
I would love to go to a SEMA show.
Yeah, me too.
And then drive out with someone's Bronco.
I got into the show, and thanks for the Bronco.
Yeah, bye.
Well, that was the big thing at SEMA, since the Broncos come out, is like everyone's modding Broncos.
Right.
Because they're the cool thing.
Yeah.
How do they all get Broncos?
Yeah, like, where do you guys... I'm looking to...
No one else can get them, but all the modders
I'm looking to do
do.
all this auto shit, too. Could you guys... Like, fucking, I just want to take pictures of stuff and...
Yeah.
Please.
I mean, think about it. That's at the same...
same
place where we have our show.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, my understanding is that our booth is scaled back. It's not in the same location.
Right.
Because of COVID stuffs.
Right.
And so the booth is a little bit smaller, and it's more focused on like newer products, and it doesn't have everything that we've ever made in our product lineup there.
Right.
which is a little bit different.
Well, you got to think too. I mean, COVID can't have not taught some lessons about marketing.
Right.
Right. If you have come out 2023 now, if you have come out of the pandemic without some net new understandings about how marketing works and how that translates to sales, you're probably at the back end of your business going out of business.
Right.
Like you're not doing it right. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
You've either seen some analytics or you've made adjustments that make more sense cost efficiency wise. Like, okay, we need to spend, our customer base is our customer base, and we're actually attracting more people word of mouth and through digital marketing in XYZ locations. So, and then you've got probably all of the human resource issues with sending people to such a petri dish.
Right.
Yeah.
That
the fallout from those things.
And that's happened.
Right, and that's its own thing.
Yeah.
But from a business marketing standpoint, you have 3 years in, you probably have to be like, okay, what you can't probably not have a presence because it still carries weight, I presume, from any trade show perspective, not NAB specifically. But how do you use a smaller footprint but not abstain from the event, and yet not lose net new customers or also get your product out there? Like
Right.
There's a whole bunch of, man, I'm curious to see how that stuff works. Having only been to one, like that thing it was a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking wow.
Yeah.
Dude, damn, this is I use that like that. Oh, I want a green screen room. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Super crazy shit.
That's amazing how all those companies spend that kind of money to make a thing that's there for 4 days.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And it's all super high presentable things, and some of them are big, trellis things with lights and all kinds of stuff, and they've got guys that are setting it all up, and like the ball tracking things.
Oh yeah, mocap stuff.
Yeah, they gotta configure all that stuff for the space, and it's kind of amazing how much work they go through to demo that stuff on site for 4 days.
4 days.
It's an undertaking.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was impressive about the AJ booth there, for the size that it was, everyone at the end of the show, at the end of the week, so if the show ends on, I think it ended on Thursday at 4 or something, or 3, whatever time the show ends, everyone's ready. The show's sort of dying down right at the end. And it's I'm not even kidding, the second that you can say show's over, at the clock goes click on the second hand, these gray bins start coming out of the back. So we don't even take them and put them on pallets and send them to be stored. They are tucked away in the back of the booth, and they start coming out, and everyone that is working the booth starts tearing the booth down, me included. And you're breaking, disassemble, taking all the monitors off the walls, unhooking all of the equipment that's running in the background, stuff that's, like our KiPROs that are just being used as playback devices for the demo footage and all that kind of shit. All the PCs that are used for Kona cards and stuff, those are all being broken down. Everyone at their station is breaking down all of the shit and starting to take stuff off the walls. And we have gotten it down to the point to where that big ass booth that you saw, an hour and a half to completely get it broken down so that the guys can come in and just take the walls down. An hour and a half.
Wow. Now it's even less because you have less of a
Probably.
Probably, yeah.
But what's amazing is the other booths that aren't using this system are all waiting for their forklift, for the carpets to get rolled up that are in the aisles, and for the forklifts to start bringing crates out so they can pack their shit up and leave. And we're like already got the booth broken down in like an hour and a half.
It's very Grass Valley. Like you're like,
it's
we're
impressive.
just going to use the whole squad. We're just going to we're all in it.
It's impressive. It's very impressive. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Anyway, just thought that was cool. Thanks, Dave, for that. I really appreciated it.
Moral compass.
It's like you just sort of get a feel of like, oh, okay, I'm this cog in some of these talking points. It's like, oh, I work on those two things. That's cool to see that's like the number 2 highest
somethings.
Yeah, like it makes the most percentage wise. It makes the most money out of all the other products. It's the number 2 thing. That's one of the things it's like, fuck, that's awesome.
Well, it's not a Scion, so.
Oh, ouch.
Ugh.
Ouch.
Got any of those laying around?
I do actually have one. Actually, I think I have 2. I think I have one in my cube at the office.
Yeah.
My cube. I wonder how long that'll be my cube.
At this point, it's probably got like dust on it.
Oh, it does. The last time I was in there, it is just coated with dust. And I have to, once I get my office recarpeted in the back room of the house and start getting my stuff set up in there, I got to go to the office, and there's a bunch of shit I want to bring home. So I got to go up to the office and just bring a bunch of stuff home. Monitors and a bunch of extra stuff that like I could really use that I just have been doing without.
You have a key card that's expired. You won't be able to get into the office.
The last time I was there, it worked.
Oh, well then.
So that's good. It's funny. You get the key out and go, is this going to work?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a year and a half.
I don't know.
Boop. Cool. Boop, boop.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
The fuck.
That's funny stuff. So.
I did car shit, but you did car shit too.
I did. I
think yours was more elaborate than my car shit.
Yeah. My wife's, we talked about this on the show, I think, a while back.
So does this tie into the tranny fluid that we're chasing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
here you go.
The symptom of the CRV was that when you got to about 45 miles an hour and you were giving it some gas, if you were on the throttle, the fucking front end would shake, like and it would be like, what the fuck? And then if you let the gas off, it would stop.
Okay.
So that was sort of the problem. Is if you were on the freeway and wanted to like give it the beans and go around, you would get this vibration.
So it's like a tank slapper speed wobble.
Kind of. And it was like, I started reading a bunch of stuff, and then, a bunch of people were saying, oh, just change the fluid out a couple times.
Right.
And so I did that, changed like the transmission fluid and the transmission fluid filter.
Okay.
And did that, and I was prepping to do another service on the transmission. Like, okay, maybe it just needs to be done like 2 or 3 times, because that's what I'd read. But then the more that I got into it, I started to realize that I think this is more of a hardware thing than it is like a fluid thing.
All right.
And I started seeing other repair stuff that was saying like, it's the CV shafts. And the first time I read this was around the same time when I also read that it was the fluid, and then you're just really hoping that it's fucking fluid, right?
Right, because fluid
Because goddamn, I don't want to pay someone to do CV shafts. That's like a $2,000 job if you take it to Honda. $2,000. I think the CV shafts are like $400 a piece if you go to and get Honda shafts.
OEM.
Yeah, and it's like, no, I don't want to spend that kind of money.
Right.
But at the same time, I also want the car to work right and not be unsafe. And my wife is driving around in it all the time.
Roughly how many miles?
110.
Okay.
So I started doing some research, found out, okay, it's probably the CV shafts. How hard is it to replace those? I've replaced a CV shaft on my old Civic Si a long time ago. And my little brother and I did it. And I didn't really know what I was doing. He did most of the work.
Okay.
So I found a video where a guy's like, okay, this is how you do it. And it was the same exact car. and he was talking about how it had this shake on accelerated. I'm like, fuck, that's the same. And he was like, and then he took it for a drive and it was fine. All right, fine. The writing is on the wall.
Right.
So I do some research. I find some pair of CV shafts out the door was like $160 for both.
Okay.
Ordered them. They came. I needed a CV, like the axle nut was like a 36 mil. So I had to get a socket that would fit that. I had to order some pry bars. I didn't have any pry bars at home. So I ordered a nice, decent set of pry bars, and I bought some that have like pads, metal pads on the back so you can hammer on them.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty much it. And then oh shoot, I forgot it. It's still at my house. I borrowed your
torque wrench.
Torque wrench, because the CV shaft's axle nut is 240 foot-pounds, and I didn't have anything that went over 100.
Yeah.
As far as torque wrench, worked great, by the way.
Sweet.
And I'm forgetting something else. Anyway, so I also I asked Chandler to see if he would come over and sort of be helper.
Okay.
Because I was like, and just in case.
Yeah.
You know.
Better devils on the shoulder, double check.
Yeah, exactly.
Quality control, maybe.
So it was fucking easy. I had a plan. I kept telling Chandler it should be fairly easy. It's just, there's 3 nuts there's a ball joint at the bottom of the control arm.
Okay.
3 nuts there, or 2 nuts and a bolt. Take those off, pry it off pry it off,
mount,
and then pull the hub away and get that was one of the hardest parts, was getting the axle out of the hub.
Okay.
It wasn't really that hard.
Turned out to not be. Okay.
Yeah. And then the next hard thing was getting it out of either the bearing carrier bearing or the transmission on the other side.
Right.
That was fairly difficult. On one side, on the carrier bearing side, you could hammer it out really easy. On the driver's side, just after some working, we got it popped out. But it was quick. I think we did it in like 2 hours or less than 2 hours for both sides. Whole thing was done. Took it for a test drive, fucking smooth as can be. So I'm stoked, totally stoked that we were able to fix that. My wife's ecstatic, and we're probably gonna be taking that car to Portland because,
because
at this point,
Cadillac status check? No.
Yeah, there is no status.
No
it's
status.
Still at the shop.
No update.
Yeah. So anyway, I was really excited about that. Really loved the fact that I was able to repair that, and it wasn't that hard, to be honest with you. I mean, there was a couple times where we're struggling trying to get the axle to pop back into the transmission, and fluid's leaking out, And it's like, I got fluid, I can replace it. It's not that big of a deal, other than the fact that it's making a mess all over the garage floor because I didn't think to get the pan out. But beyond that, it was easy, and I felt like the hero. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you solved the problem. You solved
Yeah.
Because.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I've watched enough car repair stuff that I see what they do. I just don't have the experience doing it.
Right.
And it's like, well, that doesn't look like it's that hard,
Right. Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
The hardest part is stuff where you got to start really removing things off of the motor to get to other stuff.
Yeah.
And my big concern with a job like that is making sure the screws go back where they belong. The length of the screws have to be the right thing.
Right.
Where the hoses get run, and like electrical harnesses get put in the right place. That's the stuff that really stresses me out about that kind of stuff.
It like the difference. I think a lot of the apprehension. Growing up, like we've talked about, like the Haynes or the Chilton's manuals.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I can read it, and there's actually no picture for what they're describing here, and you're kind of like, I don't know, I can do that one. Like, I don't know. But then at the same time, like, I would have my dad, and my dad would just be like, we're just going to get into
We
it.
got to just do it.
We're going to get into it.
Yeah.
And so you pick up some of that. So once I became an adult, and outside of the house, I'm in a car working on a thing. A lot of those jobs are like we're not quite digital age yet, where things are making their way to the YouTubes and all whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm in this place where it's like, yeah, I got the manual for it, but like, I don't have to. So I'm gonna save that project for until I get some I go to pick a pull or something like, and that never happens. So that mod never materializes. YouTube has completely changed. It's like, one, I can see, fuck you, HDMI. I can see someone actually working through the process, or I can aggregate a couple things that get me pretty, it might not be my model, but I just learned from watching this that what I can use that model. It's the same part. I've been down a rabbit hole lately of the R50, the Nissan R50 Pathfinder, same as the Infiniti QX4 and the Lexus something and the 4Runner, same, and like, oh man, if you just all of these things there's a lot more similarities
than you realize.
And then you can just like, oh well, I'll just watch this one because that covers that thing. Okay. The stuff I did for the RS over the weekend, nothing super advanced, but I did change the bottom rear engine motor mount. And while it wasn't broke, it was notoriously soft. And it's like, if you're looking to like add a little performance thing to take out some of like wheel hop, because it's all-wheel drive, but there's still a bias to front-wheel drive.
Yeah.
If you're looking to take out wheel hop in higher shenaniganing things, the soft motor mount
allows enough play.
Right, but the hard one to replace it with, it reduces wheel hop.
Right.
I'm like, fucking, of what bonus I got to keep after fucking taxes and adultings. I'm like, well, that's an affordable mod, and I would treat myself to that thing. So, it's like 4 bolts. Super easy.
Yeah.
But when it's the one, I got one car and I don't have to commute in it, but
I also don't want it to be broken in my
I don't want
garage.
I don't want to fuck this up. There were so many, and that's what's so awesome about the internet, YouTube specifically, to be able to multiple people. I watched multiple people do the same thing. It was like the consistency, like, emboldens you to fine.
Well, that's exactly where I was with the CRV repair. Like, I figured I would have the Cadillac by now, so at least I would have another car.
Yeah.
But also, if I broke the CRV, I would have another car. But then don't have the Cadillac back.
Yeah.
And then we're working on the CRV, and I'm like, this just better fucking be okay.
Right.
It was fine.
Right.
It was totally fine.
Did you have to get a wheel, or you think you need a wheel alignment after doing all that stuff with the front?
No, because those bolts are captive. They're not adjustable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's literally just 2 bolts and a nut on the bottom of the control arm, and then you separate the control arm from the hub.
Yeah.
And then just pull the hub out of the way so that you can get to the axle.
Okay.
Slip the hub out of the center.
I gotcha.
And then put it all back. So you're not touching anything that requires an adjustment.
So mine was like an all-encompassing thing. So I had ruined the under tray skid plate for the RS when I went up to the snow.
Well, was that part of it? Like, you're like, well, the tray's gone and I got to replace it.
Right.
So while I'm under there, I might as well do this.
I had a short shifter kit that tightened up and removed some of the wishy-washy bushings from the shifter and made it
A little
tighter,
snappier.
40%.
Oh, nice.
40% tighter. 20, 30, 40, and I have it at 30% shorter throw. So I did that, and then I needed oil, but the skid plate was like an oopsie. So it was like, well, I'm not going to get in here under the car and then to do the oil, and then a week later need time again to do the skid plate, and then a week later and then do the fucking engine. So I saved pretty much all my eggs for one basket.
Yeah.
And it was like, plus I was trying not to drive it because the under tray keeps the engine clean. First world problems. I didn't want to drive it in all the fucking rain that we've been having. So I'm like trying to garage it and just keep it like, if I needed to do something that, I took Xander to school, it's not like I didn't drive it, but I was trying to all eggs, one basket, do all the things in one shot. So I did short shift kit, the engine mount, the skid plate, and change of oil so that I could all just one day.
Nice.
The skid plate is nice. Like it's all aluminum as opposed to like the compressed coconut fiber board whatnot that gets soggy. So OEM fit used all. I didn't have to riv nut anything. I didn't have to drill anything. It went all.
See, that kind of stuff right there is important to me.
Yeah, I did not want. There were a number of solutions. I did not, and I'm comfortable with.
You don't want to be drilling holes.
I did not want to be drilling holes.
Yeah.
This used all OEM spots, OEM hardware.
Yeah.
One extra one just for security purposes that went in an existing hole. Bang, bang, all super awesome, done. The motor mount, it was definitely stiffer. And I had realized, goddamn, we're running close. Part of the thing that I've talked about when driving the 240, like that experience, like there's I've described it as visceral. Like you can just feel more shit going on. I think a lot of that has to do with being able to feel the engine.
Yeah.
And this motor mount translates more of that.
More vibration.
But it does. Venus, I don't think Venus likes it. The difference between the modernized car, though, is that translates more noise, NVH, more noise, vibration, and harmonics to the cabin. So all of the plastics, there is more rattling.
Yeah.
There is more rattling.
Yeah.
Now, there's some stuff that I could
because you're no longer removing all that harshness.
Right.
Yeah.
Which tells you exactly how fucking soft that thing was and how much work it was doing and absorbing like chatter. One California road, suck my balls.
Yeah.
Well, all the balls.
Yeah.
To the base, to the nuts, suck them all.
Yeah.
So if you were sad about California roads, and now it's even worse. It's clearly apparent how bad they are because it does translate. But the net new for me was there is more engine feel in the stick.
Yeah.
And the steering wheel, there's more feel of everything's just translating more.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Well,
perhaps that was the thing, yeah.
All that's got to go somewhere else now.
Yeah, it's either in the wheels,
it's not getting absorbed by
or
that.
in the stick, or in the steering wheel.
Yeah.
It translates. I'm like, I'll deal with it. Like it's.
So would you want to go with anything like slightly softer, or do they even have grades of it?
No, there were no grades.
So it's just.
I think there's another manufacturer, but I didn't check. I just went with the Cobb one because the Cobb is like the de facto.
Yeah.
I think there are a couple other. The short shifter, 30%. It's tight and it's definitely more snappy. Mm-hmm. I think that was like as a manual driver, it just feels. It's a smaller gate in the shift, so it feels kind of sussy. Like I like that until I realized the other day when I drove around. I drove the Miata. To get something gas, I think, And fuck, that thing's short too. I mean, because I was gonna have Piper, like you daily manual, so she knows. Like Venus knows, but Piper daily's a manual. So I was trying to get her to like just go shift a couple gears in the RS, just take it around the block and like, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Except I beat her in trying that. I got in her car and then drove it around and went, fuck, her shit's already short and tight. Like, goddamn. It's a small gate in the Miata. Like, oh, well, she probably wouldn't even notice how small the gate is.
That's
because it may be shorter in the Miata. It's a good transmission.
Well, I remember with my Civic Si, and that was nothing special. It was just the regular 5-speed, but my father-in-law got in it, and he drove it. He goes, oh, that's a really nice shifter. It's like the throws on it are really short.
Yeah.
And that was a 91 SI, Civic Si. So I can't even imagine like what the difference is to the RS.
Yeah.
Because it's built for that, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So the bushings were like, I mean, everything, it's now snappy.
Yeah.
Where there was like, you could wiggle around. There was like play inside the gear itself a little bit. And you're like, eh. Now it's like, oh, goddamn, it's
you
nice.
like it?
It feels real good.
Foo happy.
Yes. So a lot of that stuff. Venus, like right out of the gate, was like the motor mount.
Yeah.
She's like, what's going on? Like that's.
Did you tell her you were doing the motor mount?
Oh, she knew I did it. I mean, we went to where did we go? I think we went to pick up Yummy Pokey, and the road between here and out by HP is just fucking terrible. Now, normally I can get it to kind of get close to that if I put it into like the track mode, where it tightens everything up, and the California road suck my balls. Like it does.
Well, your car definitely has a rougher ride than what I'm used to, and the Cadillac's not a soft ride either.
The
but
tight track mode will tighten it even
stiff.
Yeah, and then it'll knock a filling loose on our roads. This is like having track mode on, but in
normal mode.
Normal mode, but it gets tight.
Yeah,
track mode and with the new motor mount, it's
nice,
zippy, fucking tight.
That's fun.
Okay, that's it.
We're all right. We got to dump out.
Yeah, fucking.
We're dumping out.
Tap out and go.
Yeah. Let us know what projects you did over the weekend on your car.
SEMA.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah.
SEMA.
Yeah. So on that note,
return the cart.
Give us tickets to SEMA.
Wash your hands.
Wash your ass.
Tickets to SEMA.
Return the cart.
Register to vote.
Make the call.
Wash your ass?
Okay.
Yeah. Did you say ass?
I don't know. I think so. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Check your oil, Tony.
Check your oil and do the kindness.
And we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.